right, it's somewhere in the vicinity of 9:30. We have no actual way of knowing that because it's actually Monday in our time-warped sense of time here.
Yes.
Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, kind of. I think the whole changing of the clocks on Saturday night threw everybody off a bunch.
Yes, let's blame that instead of just the fact that we're recording this on Monday.
Yes.
So we'll be honest with you about that at least.
Yeah.
We'll fake it like it's real, but it's not.
Yes.
So I'm John Ryan.
I'm Jeff Blankman.
And I'm Mason Nealon.
Yes, you guys nailed it finally. So applause for you guys. You finally got that one. We got lots to talk about today. We got state volleyball coming up here, so that's why we're recording this on Monday, because you guys are already on the road / at Coralville to call the game with Kemper and Red Oak a little bit later on this afternoon. So that's why we're going to be recording this all up early. So let's talk a little national sports here. First of all, Dodgers. What do we feel about the Dodgers winning the World Series? I can't stand it.
I can't stand it either.
All right, it's unanimous. 3. Let's move on.
If you're Toronto, how do you get up 4-1 and let the lead slip away and end up losing?
Honestly, I just dislike the Dodgers that much, and I don't really. Toronto, I like the young players,
right?
But I just didn't have that much interest to see it, so I didn't watch a single pitch.
Okay, now
I saw some of the highlights, and they were incredible.
They were. What a series to go 7 games, 2 games going extra innings, including Game 7 going 11. The play there at the plate to send it to extra innings when it looked like Toronto had it wrapped up. I think the guy bobbled a little bit and still was able to make the throw. The catcher's foot came off of the plate for a beat and then was back on the plate in time to be able to get him. You got to wonder, so the question I'm going to ask you, if he runs all the way through instead of slides, or if he slides head first, is he safe and Toronto wins it and we don't have to worry about the Dodger celebration? No idea?
Don't know anything about it. That I did not see.
Okay.
I did not see that part. Did you see that, Mason?
Bits and pieces. I mean, I tuned in when I looked down at ESPN and saw that it was extra innings. I'm like, it's probably worth my time watching the final inning or 2 or whatever. So I watched that, and then I see the Dodgers celebrate, and I flicked off. And I was like, yep, we're not watching that.
No, I'm not going to watch that at all.
Forced play at home. And they hit it to an infielder, and he throws it home after boppling it. The guy on third slides feet first and is out by probably a half an inch.
Oh,
so that's where you wonder, brutal. Do you run through because sliding slows you down? Mm-hmm. Do you run through, or if you slide, face first, Pete Rose style, do you get your hand in there quicker than you get your foot?
Does that get you there any faster?
Yes, and then the game's over. That's the bottom of the 9th. They win it, and they celebrate with a 4-3 victory. But instead, we all have to be totally bummed while, Lisa Anderson and Sweet Anderson, or Lisa Honnold, I should say, and Sweet Anderson get to celebrate, a Dodger victory. Only Dodger fans I know.
Yeah, I know. It's the 18-inning game. It cracked me up that the Dodgers won that one, then turned around and lost the next 2.
Right.
And everybody's saying the Dodgers are old. Their bat speeds actually slowed down in the next 2 games because they were tired.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. That was the most interesting part of the World Series to me.
Yeah,
anyway.
And their catcher caught all 18 innings that night while Toronto subbed their guy out late in the game to keep him a little fresh. You imagine catching all 18? Now, years ago, catchers used to do that when they would play a twin bill.
Sure, Johnny Bench and all those guys, man, they caught both ends of it. They caught every day.
Yes.
You barely saw the backup ever. Maybe once a week at most.
Right. Yeah.
So, Cubs also, they get 3 Gold Glove winners. They were announced the other day. PCA, Ian Happ, and Nico Horner. Only team with 3 Gold Glovers on the same team.
And still couldn't get out of the opening round of the playoffs, right?
That stuff happens from time to time.
Sorry, I'm not a Cubs fan. As a Reds fan, I'm not a Cubs fan at all. We couldn't get out either. So, yeah.
So baseball season done with. We're back into college football. Another opening in the Power 4 conferences. Hugh Freeze out at Auburn. That makes what, 8?
8 Power 4 coaches, if I caught the number right on Monday morning. You got to wonder if there'll be more before the regular season is even done, and I'll guarantee you there's going to be some changes at some point, probably before in the off season, early in the off season. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some more changes.
Yeah, you looked at me, and are you thinking a certain someone's going to be out at head coach?
No, I'm not. Yeah,
so I'm like, you turned and looked at me when you said somebody's going to leave in the off season.
I said you may know of somebody else or some rumors that of who else might be out.
Yeah, no, I got some pull in the college football world, so Saban's going to Auburn. I got that one already dialed up.
Wouldn't that be something?
Oh, wow.
To see Mr. Alabama go to Auburn.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way he goes back to college coaching.
Yeah.
He doesn't want anything to do with NIL, nothing like that. That's what drove him out in the first place.
Right. Well, it's now balanced, or he can't be the only one paying players, large sums of money to come play for him.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it a little bit tougher for him to have the success that he had when the field's a little bit more balanced. So
did I see James Franklin went to Virginia Tech? Is that?
I haven't heard that yet.
Maybe that was just a rumor.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's a fit for them. Who knows?
Yeah. All
these schools now look for something that's the kind of a legacy hire. They want somebody who's attached to the school in some way.
Doesn't always work out, though.
Yeah.
You look at Scott Frost in Lincoln and, Deshaun Foster out at UCLA. And, there's been a lot of them that have not worked out. So.
Yeah. And then Iowa State coming off a fourth straight loss. Wow. This one to Arizona State. Defense played well at times. That rain was cold.
Yeah.
But they lose four straight. They after going 5-0, now 5-4. And I look at the schedule and I'm thinking, okay, you get bowl eligible. Guess what? Because you got Oklahoma State as the last game of the year. Otherwise, that's no gimme. At TCU, Kansas, and Oklahoma State are left.
Right. And what's going on with Rocco back? That's the question that everybody seems to be asking. So is he injured? Has he lost his confidence? Is it a combination? There's a lot of rumors and a lot of things flying around right now, but he's not what sounds like. I haven't had a chance to watch him, but he hasn't had a chance. He hasn't been playing like he was early in the season. Yeah,
he has not looked the same as he did in the first 5 games, that's for sure. Some bad interceptions in there and things like that. So they need to get it together, and they've got to go to TCU. And TCU's down a little bit this year, but it's a tough place to go play there. So Iowa, though they're 26, they're getting close. Nathan Cones told me, he goes, Iowa State lost their bye week. Iowa won their bye week.
Yeah, and now I'm worried because, all the hype's on Iowa and we have to play a 2:30 game against Oregon. You got big noon kickoff there. You got all this stuff. And I'm like, you put all the bells and whistles on it and Iowa's going to somehow find a way to lose this one, and then there goes everything.
Well, I mean, at least Oregon, you have that saying, okay, that's one of the better teams in the country.
Right.
So you got them coming in. It's a big opportunity for Iowa, though. If they can pull this one off, boy, they're legit.
They may end up. I mean, I've heard rumors of if Iowa wins out, they may be a top 12 team and may end up in the playoff. And I'm like, please don't put us in the playoff. I don't want to see what happens when we play one of the premier teams again. Like, I don't want to get a top 4, top 5 team on our schedule in the playoff. I like the recognition, but I'm like, if we're the 13th team, I'm not going to cry over it.
Christian McCaffrey's not in college football anymore, so you're okay.
Yeah.
I have PTSD of that game right there.
But the Ohio State Buckeyes still are.
They are, yes.
And Indiana. I mean, I don't even know the Indiana which ones would meet up in the Big Ten championship.
The Big Ten will be Indiana, Ohio State, wouldn't it be?
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't even sure how the divisions aligned there. So.
Yeah. So it'll be Indiana, Ohio State. I'm sure
game.
That will be a fun game. And then there's a possibility they could rematch for the whole kits and caboodles. Man, they look like maybe the two best teams in college football right now. So
Speaking of football, by the way, pro football. Get this little interesting fact: if the playoffs started today, the Jaguars are in and the Chiefs are out in the AFC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who would have thought that? And what's going on with Patrick Mahomes? He completed under 50% of his passes yesterday or Sunday, and stuff. So what's going on with? I know they had been on a little bit of a roll, but you never saw these kind of performances from Mahomes 2-3 years ago.
All the years of that success, I mean, the talent gets watered down each and every year as the salaries go up and things like that. So, it's just you're a victim of your own success, I think.
Yep, lack of weapons or something around him. Yeah, it's got to be something.
Yeah, that cracked me out. Jaguars in, Chiefs out. If it started today, but it doesn't, and the Chiefs will figure out a way to get there.
They will. Yeah, they will. So, I'd be okay with that, though. I'm not a Chiefs hater, but at the same time, I don't mind seeing programs and franchises that maybe struggled kind of bounce back. Because if you look, there's some different names right now leading divisions and everything else than what we've had in the last how many years.
Yeah. It's and then yesterday, J.J. McCarthy finally gets another start for the Vikings.
Yeah.
Looked outstanding. He leads them to a win in Detroit, which is no easy task.
No, and I heard that the Vikings kind of out-physical Detroit, which does not happen very often.
Yeah, sacked Jared Goff like 5 times, put pressure up the middle. But J.J. McCarthy, I mean, he missed a couple of passes. He was a little bit too much mustard on it. But I tell you what, he was outstanding. For all the doubt that kid's got nerves of steel.
Right.
After all the things you're saying, they should trade him, they should bench him, they shouldn't have done this, he's terrible. The guy had played 2 games.
Right.
You haven't even gotten a good sample size of what he can do. Yesterday, that showed a lot of nerve on his part to go into Detroit and be that calm, making checks at the line, doing a lot of things right to win that ball game.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch that game because I watched the barn burner of the Bears and Bengals.
Yeah, that was another huge one.
I'm sitting there and it was like 40-something to 20 or something, and the Bengals scored twice in a row, and it was 43-42, or it was something like that. And then I was like, just get in field goal range, kick the field goal, win the game. They throw one to our tight end, and our rookie tight end, in fact. He breaks off, spins around 2 guys, and runs to the end zone. And I'm just losing my mind out there. And I'm like, for how many games I've watched the Bears lose since I've been a Bears fan, it's just good to see us get off to a decent start.
Did I hear right? Was there 4 lead changes in the final 2 minutes of that game? I know there was 2 in the final minute, but I think there was 4 lead changes in the final 2 minutes.
I know it went crazy at the very end of it.
Yeah.
It was a really high-scoring game. I think there was 8 in total, and I looked at it, and it was Caleb Williams had like 380 passing yards and 3 TDs, and Joe Flacco, who may or may not be 80 or 90 right now, had like almost 500 yards of passing and 4 TDs. I'm like, Flacco still got it somehow.
I did see the replay, a little double reverse, pass to Caleb Williams in the end zone for the Bears. They're breaking out all the trick plays there. So interesting day in college football and all that this weekend. College basketball is back tonight. So yeah, crazy stuff. Let's talk a little cross country. Mason, you were up Saturday covering that in Fort Dodge.
Yeah, I was up Friday too. I went and saw Iris Melody run for South Central Calhoun on Friday, and first time being there, I really enjoyed it. Saturday, I enjoyed it a little less just because of certain circumstances that me and Mr. Blankman had to endure before the race. But we
that sounds like a whole story right there. But
let's just say we were going down a green on the west side. We were going down a green to go catch the East Sac boys, and Blankman falls and wipes out. And he looks to his left to try and balance on me, and then I wiped out, and then we were wet on our legs the entire day.
Yeah, we both. I've been up there enough times. I know that you don't walk on the backside of a green because of the slope, and we're hurrying to try and catch up with the East Sac boys before they get out and start walking the course. And took a wrong step, and both feet went out from underneath me, and had all I could do is, as I'm reaching out to my left to try and grab Mason to hold myself up, he's going down. So we slid down the hill, and everybody that saw us kind of laughed at us, but we got through the
$100 for
day.
Anybody that's got video out there. $100 right now. I want it. So
I had forgotten about that. Thanks for bringing that up.
I did not forget about that because I was cold and wet for the rest of the day.
So other than that, how was the event?
I was surprised with Riley Aragon. I mean, for a guy that, he kind of finished second on his own team for plenty of meets. Landon-Spore was kind of their guy there. Riley was 60th after the first mile, passed 45 guys, and finished as a medalist at 15th there to lead East Sac there. But I think, I don't think they were pleased with where they finished, but I just want to say congrats on a good season for East Sac there. And with Iris, I know that she was dealing with some stuff when it comes to injuries there, so probably didn't run the best she could there. But, I mean, a great career for her as well. I had 3-time state qualifier for cross country there. Yep.
The only year she didn't make it would have been the year that they got bumped up to 2A, and I think she was one person off of qualifying that year. But a 3-time state qualifier. Battled injuries and health issues most of this season. But yeah, as Mason said, Riley Aragon passed like 6 kids over the last maybe half mile to get himself into that medal. And I know they wanted to finish top 5 as a team, and they finished 8th overall. But, great career for that senior group. They're going to be sorely missed, and those guys were a lot of fun. So if you want to hear what the guys said, I took the guys that finished 1, 2, 3 for them, and Mason caught up with the guys that finished 4, 5, and 6. And there are video interviews out there that you can catch up to find out what the guys thought about how they did. So.
All right, so cross country is done for the year here. We're going to talk volleyball. We got the Kemper match coming up here in just a little bit from Coralville, so we're going to be talking about that next on KCIM Sports Rewind. It's brought to you exclusively by St. Anthony Rehab Services.
As the athletes at your house prepare for hard work and fun of the season, remember that St. Anthony Rehab Services provides physical therapy for any sports injury that may sideline your member of the team. Sports injuries can plague kids of all ages and keep them from playing the sport they love. Athletes will be under the direct supervision of a certified and licensed healthcare professional in the newly renovated sports performance facility. If an injury is keeping your athlete out of the game, call St. Anthony Rehabilitation Services at 794-5000 for sports injury and treatment rehab.
It is KCIM Sports Rewind. I'm John Ryan, Jeff Blankman, and Mason Nealand along with you. Of course, you guys, this is Monday. We're recording this program because you guys are making your way over to Coralville as the Kemper Knights are there at the state volleyball tournament, about to take on a team they're super familiar with, the Red Oak Tigers. We'll get to that match coming up here, but tell us how we got here. It was an unbelievable matchup to get here for the Kemper Knights.
Yeah, had to go to 5 to beat Unity Christian. Won the first set and won handily, and then lost set 2, and then lost set 3. And
what was the difference in those two sets? Was it just Unity Christian being Unity Christian?
I think Unity Christian played better, and I think Kemper kind of relaxed and didn't pass the ball as well, and Unity got things going offensively, and then you saw that change of momentum that happens, and Kemper was able to dominate set 4, and then the way they closed set 5 was the one that was impressive. They gave up back-to-back aces to fall behind 11-10, and you think, they're in some trouble here, and Coach Wintermote calls a timeout, and they resettle themselves down, and they come out, and Addie Antover gets a kill to tie it, and then they get Elsa Tiefenthaler back at the service line, which is either her or Mia Milligan. They're two best servers all year. That's who you want back there, and Elsa ends up ending it and winning it on back-to-back aces, to clinch the 15-11 victory. So you fall down 11-10 in set 5, and you go on a 5-0 run to win it. That's impressive, but a good performance for them. They had a lot of girls step up. Had some girls, Addie Antover. I don't know how she didn't come out of there with some broken bones. Just the way she literally dove over top of the chairs on the bench and slid head first straight into the bottom boards of the bleachers, and you could hear it thud even where we were up broadcasting. And I'll somewhat repeat what she said when I had her up for post-game interview. I said, did it hurt when you dove over the chairs and slammed into the bottom of the bleachers? And she goes, yeah, it hurt an awful lot. I was in a lot of pain, but I told myself to get my up and get back out onto the court, and that's exactly what she did. So yeah,
that's a little dedication for you right there, not wanting to see their season come to an end. But I mean, how impressive is that, especially when you take into account the quality of opponent, to be down a point in the final set where it doesn't look like things are going your way, to suddenly turn it around to win 5 straight points.
Yeah, it tells you the character of this group and the no quit in them. And the weird thing to me, man, and Mason, you'd probably agree, you got 2 really good teams. Most of the time when you go 5, it's like 25-23, 25-21, something of that nature. 3 of the 5 sets were absolute blowouts, like 25-12 type of, not even competitive. Whichever team got on a roll early just flat dominated that set, and that was kind of the odd thing. Set 2 and set 5 were the only sets that were even remotely competitive between those 2 teams.
Yeah, and I mean, in set 5 there, I think the easiest way to sum it up, and I've heard it plenty of times now, is just Kemper. They played like Kemper. I mean, they go out there and they showed the confidence that they have, and I know these girls all have a lot of confidence in the ability that they have, and they just went out there and they played like the same Kemper team they've had all year. I know that, now Red Oak's not going to be very easy, but I think that they have confidence in that one there. And when I talked to the girls after you were doing the post game with Addie Antover, it was Colby Peter and Elsa Tiefenthaler standing there, and I go, so how was set 1? And they go, I think we gave almost all we had in set 1, and all of us were extremely tired. And so then set 2 and set 3 felt like an eternity, so it made it a lot harder to play those 2. But then they started getting back and getting their legs under them again, and then set 4 and set 5 kind of came back to them.
Yeah, and Elsa Tiefenthaler said in her post-game interview that, she's so competitive, probably one of the most naturally competitive kids I've covered in my time here. She's like, I'm yelling at my kids in the huddle, my teammates, get mad. Don't be satisfied by being behind. Get mad, get pissed off, and go play pissed off. And that's exactly kind of what they did late. And I think when you have that kind of drive and that kind of leadership from the top, that's, not going to allow you to slip away. And that's what it takes sometimes.
Accountability.
Yes.
And you need that from your team leaders. It can't come from the coaches. It's got to come from within the team.
And Elsa and Kaylee Simons are those type of leaders. They're the ones that will kind of get on you and kind of force you to go out and have to play as hard as you can.
Is that the difference this year between this team, Kemper team, and other teams that have made runs at the state tournament? I don't know. Is there a big difference?
Yeah. I think that team that won the state championship with Macy Overmull and Amy Adams and Kara Peter and that whole group, they were just so talented. And they were competitive as well. But I would say that probably the difference between this group and the previous three that were really, really good teams could be that part of it, could be the competitive nature of this group as a whole. I think you got a lot of girls that just don't like to lose and don't enjoy it, and they fight. There might be a little bit more fight in them than maybe what there was in some of the previous teams. Not that those weren't outstanding teams with great players, but maybe a little bit more fight with this team.
Are they tested enough?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think the Hawkeye 10 was extremely strong this year. I think you had two really great teams with Kemper and with Red Oak, one of the two teams that are going to be meeting today. Red Oak won it. Kemper finished a game behind him. I think you had some solid teams behind that with St. Albert, Lewis Central, and some of those other teams. But they go out in their non-conference schedule. That you go travel to Sergeant Bluff, Luton, and some of the teams. I think they're going to be challenged. So and be prepared.
What do you think about the seedings? That Red Oak's the 3 seed, Kemper the 6 seed?
I think I don't think anyone had really a shock to that. I know Rusty, when I had talked to him after the game, he goes, it's probably going to be Red Oak. And then you saw predictions come out on Twitter, and it's all Red Oak, and then eventually became Red Oak. And I think that they kind of set that up. I think that was just it's the easiest matchup. The teams are familiar with each other. It's going to be a good game no matter what, because you look at the last time, 5 sets, and it was really close the entire way.
Yep.
So it's I think that was kind of meant to be for that first round there.
Yeah, Red Oak got them in 5 the first time here, so they were ranked ahead of them. I think the only thing that was maybe slightly interesting is Red Oak was ranked 4th and stuff before the final rankings. The final rankings come out and they bump them up to 3rd. So it was almost with Kemper staying at 6. It was almost like going, because what the union will do it. They'll put 1 against 8, 2 against 7, 3 against 6, and 4 against 5 if those top 8 make it. So no surprise once the pairings came out that Red Oak won and Kemper won that you would see a Red Oak Kemper first round matchup. But it was almost like they set it up by moving Red Oak up to number 3 in those final rankings.
Which one of you guys did the match in the regular season?
I did.
How do these two teams compare?
Very comparable. It'll be a little different for Kemper. It was shortly after they had lost Brianna Whitrock. She's now back, so they'll be better probably than what they were. They were still trying to figure out lineups back then. Red Oak's really good. They're a team that digs extremely well. They're one of those teams that can frustrate you if you allow that, because you're going to hit at them all day long, and they're just going to stand there and dig it up and keep it in play, and they're going to say, keep bringing it to us and keep bringing it to us. And so Kemper's got to just stay aggressive and not allow that to frustrate him, because sometimes when you're hitting it hard and stuff that are usually kills that don't turn into kills, it can frustrate you a little bit. But I think the matchup's going to be really good. I know when I talked with Rusty the other day, he thinks it's going to be a minimum of a 4-set. He goes, I honestly think this will be a 5-set marathon. He goes, I think it's going to be a really well played match, and I could see that as well.
The one thing I do want to add here is what I think Kemper has that other teams don't have is you have this senior group of girls, and you have a lot of them on that team that are just so passionate about volleyball, that have grown up playing volleyball. They love playing together. They've been on the same team for so long. I think they can't stand the fact that it could be the last match. So I think that's what they have, is they're like, it's with Elsa and Kaylee and Brianna and all them. They go out there and they play, and they're like, we don't want this to be our last match of all of us playing together, so we need to win to keep the season going.
Well, and for that group of seniors, this is the 4th straight year, so they've been down there since they were freshmen. They haven't won a game down there yet. So I think that's the drive for them. They want to get a win at the state tournament. They don't want to make it down there 4 years in a row and get knocked out in the first round 4 years in a row, because I think they would feel like they didn't accomplish everything they could accomplish if they don't win this opening round match at the least. So
12:25, excuse me.
12:25 is scheduled first serve. We'll go on about 20-25 minutes prior to that with our pre-match coverage. Again, they give about a 2-hour window, so if you get one that goes 4 or 5 sets in front of it, it might be later than that before it actually starts, but that is the scheduled start time. And usually down there at the state tournament, they're pretty good at getting things kind of awfully close to what they had scheduled.
They keep things moving along.
They do.
That's for sure.
Yep.
So that's volleyball. Again, that game on Kick 106.7 this afternoon. You can stream it at carrollbroadcasting.com for anybody out of the area. Football playoffs. Audubon, just a ridiculous score against Montezuma, and for their efforts, they get to travel across the state.
Yeah, message sent last Friday with that win over Montezuma.
82-0.
Yeah, we'll see if message is received by Iowa Valley when they play on Thursday night. Iowa Valley's got a really good quarterback and a really good athlete. On that
they played
team.
Montezuma themselves.
They did,
right?
yeah. And I think the score was like 88-64 or something of that nature. And Audubon beats Montezuma 82-0. So that's why I say, kind of the message sent. We can score the same amount of points you do, but our defense is better than yours. And I think Audubon's going over with a chip on their shoulder. I think they felt like they were a top 5 team all season long and probably a top 2 or 3 team, and for them to have to travel, meaning that they were seated below Iowa Valley, I think there's a chip on their shoulder. But at the same time, Iowa Valley is a really good ball club. Nobody's challenged them very much all season long, and they're gonna be over there playing for the chance to go to the Dome. So it's not like Audubon's not going to get their best effort. So.
Nah.
Yeah, I know Sean Burks, when I talked to him, he says in 8-man this year, there's 5 or 6 or kind of that same ballpark of teams that can win a state title. And he goes, we're one of them, Iowa Valley's one of them. So he goes, if you got 2 teams that can win a state title and you put them for the chance to go to the Dome, there's plenty of motivation. But he goes, my guys want to go. They've played good all year. For these senior groups, they just want to. Right. I mean, I talked to Austin Christensen for our monthly interview as well, and he's like, it's not even like we're playing for much. It's just the fact that we're playing for the right to go to the Dome as seniors. And he's like, we need to go do that. And he says that he wants to play like it's Waco 4 years ago. You probably get that reference better than I do.
Yep. That was the last time they had to travel to southeast Iowa to go to the Dome. They weren't supposed to win that one because they were seated, above, but they went down there and picked up a really nice win.
All right, so they are on the road Thursday night. Nick Brink's going to be calling that one for us.
Yep, we could kind of hoping that Mason and I are calling a volleyball championship game Thursday late afternoon. That would be like a 2:30, 2:45 type of a start. So we thought, well, probably better be safe than sorry, and ask Nick to go cover Audubon, because we'd hate to have Mason and I trying to finish up a volleyball broadcast and be thinking about having to try and get to Iowa Valley in time for a football broadcast.
Really hate showing up late for a football playoff game like that. So, Carroll Tigers, they saw their season come to an end at the hands of Nevada. Yeah,
disappointing loss for them. I thought played pretty well on Friday. There was kind of so they're up 14-7 late in the first half. They started a drive at their own 6 after Talon Grandel had gotten an interception. They get out to midfield. They've got a 3rd down. I think the play breaks, but if they hold on to the ball, but they fumbled. And Nevada end up recovering it. They score with 7 seconds left in the half to send it to halftime, tied at 14 apiece, and kind of forgot about, I think it was an onside kick to start the second half. I think Carroll wanted to get the ball back, but the ball didn't go 10 yards. So Nevada starts it at the Carroll 46-yard line, and they march down the field and they score, and they go up 21-14, and then the defenses took over from there. Carroll had a really nice drive that ended with an interception in the end zone. They had gotten down to the 6, and then on their last drive, they go for it on 4th down. They head at 4th and 3, and then they get called for moving up front, so it makes it 4th and 8. And they had Chase Shable at the goal line. He was open early, and the ball just sailed a little bit and over his head for an incomplete pass. And then they still had their timeouts left, but Nevada was able to. They ran a beautiful play. I'm thinking they're going to run the football, put their defense back out there if they have to. But nope, they run a little play action. They float the tight end out into the flat, and they find him absolutely wide open because everybody from Carroll's thinking the run.
Selling out.
And they sold out on it like they had to, and they find him, and he picks up 52 yards deep into Carroll territory, and then they're able to kneel the ball and run the clock out. But a gallant effort for Carroll. Just a couple of plays there right before the end of the half, and that onside kick attempt right at the beginning of the half was kind of, I thought, the difference in the game.
Yeah, I just want to say, too, congratulations to the season they had. Impressive season from Adam Malik, breaking out, and as of this point, leads all of Class 3A in rushing. It'll probably be topped with other people right behind him in that list. But Matt Collison, almost, I think, top 10 in the state in interceptions. I had a great angle that was a little blurry on the video, but a great angle of his interception, which was kind of a fluke play. He hit sticks the kid, and the ball falls into his hands, and he, first score of the game, takes it back for a pick six.
Yeah, and I'm calling the play, and it looks to me like the kid's caught it. So I'm like, completion to Eglin out in the flat. And all of a sudden I see Matt running down the field, and I'm like, Collison must have come up with the interception. He's going to go in to score, and stuff like that, because it was right in front of the bench, so you couldn't really see it real clear and stuff from up there. But what a play. And then he almost had another one later on, kind of a similar thing. The ball popped off of the receiver, and it popped up into the air, and he ended up pinning it to his hip for just a second, but couldn't quite squeeze it in, but almost came up with another interception. But 6 interceptions for Mac on the season, so congrats to him on a terrific job. So
great season for them. Again, district champions. So, boy, they started off, with some tough games at the early season. That proved to pay off, I think, later in the year.
It did. Yep, rolled through their district undefeated, and Harlan was the only one that really challenged them and through that district run, and they got themselves back into the postseason and got a home game, but fell just a little bit short, but still a heck of a season.
Another home game for Kemper, of course. They took care of business against OABCIG. Second time they'd met up with the Falcons this year. A little bit tougher second time around.
Yeah, I thought they played well. Tip your cap to Taylon Alford. Jaron Hoffman, who's an all-state running back, goes out, and he's not able to play in that game. And he carries it, I think, 32 times on the night. Alford did, and ran for 160 yards or something like that, and just put together a really valiant effort. I thought OABCIG did a nice job of, not completely taking away the pass game, but kind of making it where Kemper couldn't throw as easily as they had kind of all season long.
Yeah, and for Taylon, he faced adversity early. First drive for Kemper, he coughed the ball up, fumble, and they fall back on it. But the resiliency the kid had. You're a sophomore underclassman playing the running back position for the first time. He goes out there and you fumble right away. Most running backs would be like, now I'm nervous, need to hold on the ball, don't run as aggressive. He still goes out there and becomes a workhorse back, and again, 32 carries, 160-some yards and a touchdown, and really had a great night. And it's not the same thing that you'd get from Jaron, but it's pretty close from a guy that doesn't play the running back position.
Yeah, he ran tough. He was not an easy guy to bring down, and when your passing game's good, but not to the level that it probably had been all season long, you needed somebody to step up, and Taylon did that. That's why we named him the Culver's Player of the Game, and I thought the defense did a really nice job. They struggled occasionally to bring the Jensen kid down. OABCIG got the ball to DeJean a few times. I'm surprised they didn't use him a little bit more than what they did. He's a big, strong kid, but they made the plays. OABCIG cut it to an 11-point game about midway through the fourth quarter, but Kemper was able to do what they needed to do to run the clock out and come out of there with a nice, comfortable win. So a little banged up. Nice to have Preston Vanami back in at center, but they'll get tested maybe coming up on Friday. I know they beat Cherokee earlier in the year. 44-28 was the final of that one, but I think both teams going to come into this one feeling confident that they can win.
I was going to say Cherokee is a familiar team to Kemper. They've had to play a very familiar team so far in the playoffs.
Yeah, out of your 3 playoff games, 2 of them are somebody you saw in the regular season.
That doesn't usually work like that.
It doesn't, no. I was kind of surprised a little bit on that, but with Kemper having beaten both of the teams that they're going to have to match up with here in the postseason, OA last week and now Cherokee this week, that's got to give them the confidence that they can go out and get the job done and get themselves to the Dome. I think it'll be the first time, if I remember right, since they won the title.
Yeah.
So
since that football banged off the crossbar.
Yes.
For the state title.
Adam Schleichman, hitting the crossbar and having it go through. So, yeah.
Crazy. So that is coming up Friday night. Jeff, you'll have the call on that one. It'll be on Kick 106.7 as Cherokee comes to town. 3rd straight home playoff game for the Kemper Knights as the number 1 team in Class 2A. So, again, volleyball coming up this afternoon. afternoon, 12 o'clock noon, the pregame, 12:25 is the scheduled start time. They hope to get it underway just exactly at that time or maybe shortly thereafter. So that's over on Kick 106.7. Your Audubon football game on Thursday night, that's on KKRL with Nick Brinks. Pregame at 6:20, kickoff at 7 o'clock, and then the Kemper and Cherokee matchup Friday night here in town, 6:20 pregame, 7 o'clock kickoff with Sports Director Jeff Blankman. So that is KCIM Sports Rewind. Catch a podcast available on the website in just a couple more moments.